Hello everybody and welcome to episode 6 of season 3 of So What's New in the Biscuit Tin. I'm Jess.
And I'm Sam.
And today we have a fabulous guest, someone who is a real inspiration to me, someone who I have chatted to for a number of years now and who will be very, very familiar to all of you. We're joined by the fabulous Vicki, who you may remember from Sewing Bee.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh my god, it is such a joy. I bumped into you last year in person at the Stitch Festival, and I think that probably is the last time I saw you. But it is always so lovely. And you are so, guys, obviously this isn't really a video podcast, but Vicki has the best outfit on and the most fabulous glasses, and I want to know absolutely everything. But no, we're so grateful for you coming on the pod. Thank you so much.
Thanks for asking me to come on.
So is that one of your self-designed fabrics?
It is, yes. It's one from my recent collection. Retro, because it's retro. Very original names I go for.
I love it though. It's so beautiful. It's so colourful, and I love how yellow it is. I mean, from a charity perspective as well, I love any good yellow fabrics or fabrics with yellow bits. But it's so sunny.
Thank you. Yeah, I did wonder if it was too bright, but
no,
I like it.
Be able to see is that you're sat next to me in bright orange and purple, so we're all good on the brightness factor, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm very much letting the team down in my grey hoodie. Sorry, lads. But it is Sam as usual. Normally Sam does the colour for this podcast and I do the sort of black minimalist outfits, and that's how we divide the labour there. So we've had a little break between pre-recording episodes, so I actually haven't seen Sam in ages either. So I think it's just right that as we're now into April at the time of recording, and it's very springy and fun, what type of biscuit do we all feel like? I will ask our guest first. Vicki, if you had to think of yourself as a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be?
I spent too long thinking about this.
Yay! Excellent! Those are my favourite words from a guest.
Well, I'm going to start off with Yvette said that her husband said she should be ginger nut. And guess what? John said exactly the same thing to me. He was like, well, obviously you're a ginger nut. I was like, no, not obviously, John.
Rude.
Rude, yes.
Do you know, I'm going to go with a jammy dodger, because I think I look fun on the outside and I'm a squidgy mess on the inside.
I love it.
That's so brilliant. I love that so much. Best answer. Sam, what about you? How are you feeling? Biscuit-wise.
So I am feeling like I think it's a type of hobnob where it's got like a chewy caramel bit between the chocolate and the biscuit. Is it a type of hobnob?
Digestive.
Yeah.
Really?
They're caramel digestives, aren't they?
Are they caramel digestives? Yeah. I'm feeling like that. And again, I'm feeling like a mixture of things. So you've got like the chocolatiness, the toughness of a biscuit, and then some sort of weird gooey messiness in the middle as well, actually. So, yeah. So what about you, Jess?
I am 2 weeks off my upgrade Viva deadline. So I am a collection of broken biscuit pieces. But the amount of biscuits I've eaten will probably make up for my lack of personality on the biscuit front today. But we're so nearly there, guys. We're so nearly there. I have literally, last night we were doing our shop and I was like, Adam, I think I probably need some biscuits for this week. And then later this evening, he said to me, he goes, I was like, I've got to do some writing for the podcast. I've probably got to write after it. And he was like, you should get a biscuit. And I was like, darling, they are gone. They've been in this house for less than 24 hours. Whole pack vanished. It was a low moment. But we're getting there. And doing this podcast is always a massive delight.
Now, I have some important news for you, Jess, around one of your favourite biscuits. You know, it's like a circle, but it's more like petals with a hole in the middle that M&S does with like the really sort of decent chocolate.
I introduced my family to these up in Orkney. They're fabulous.
Well, they've made an Easter egg that's a giant version of that.
Oh my god!
I saw it in Marks and Spencer's at the weekend. So it's chocolate, but it almost looks like a Christmas bauble because it's huge. It's like the size of a hand.
I'm Googling.
Yes, and we were looking online because the shop was just pillaged of egg stuff, but they've done a giant custard cream one as well, and in the chocolate it has bits of custard cream. So they've gone peak on the biscuit Easter eggs this year.
As in like studded with custard cream?
That's what it said in the description.
Like if you were to imagine, I don't know how I feel about that. That sounds wrong.
I feel
Sounds
enough
terrible.
about it to feel
and
I
love
to
the
try
custard
it.
cream.
But sadly, when I went in there, they had none. So they'd all been bought. The entire shelf was empty. So other people are clearly on board with it.
Oh, God.
But
like,
I think that your one is like
texture-wise.
I was going to say I have a horrible texture thing and I just can't get on board.
I feel like there's like that biscuity chocolate.
No.
Help me out here. What's the one I'm thinking of? It's like a galaxy one and it's kind of got like cookie bits in it. I don't know if they make it anymore. They made it like 10 years ago. And it used to be great and I'm not allowed it anymore. That was delicious, but pushing it because it was gritty, but it wasn't like lumps. Whereas I don't think I'd do well with lumps of biscuit. I think I'm a purist. I want my chocolate to be
I think you'll be okay because I think your favourite one is just like a big piece of chocolate just shaped into your favourite biscuit.
We have been talking about meeting up around Easter, which we should definitely do, and we should do something Easter egg biscuit related. I think that would be really funny, and we should put it on the Instagram for fun, because, we are still here, guys, I promise.
Yes.
So, what have we all been sewing recently? That's always a nice bit of chat. You can sort of see my mannequin behind me. Things are happening, which is nice. But Vicky, have you been doing anything cool recently?
Do you know, I've got a big mound of fabric next to me, which you can't see. I am testing the Waverley skirt from Hey So Sister.
Oh, that looks lovely. So beautiful with the wiggly. Yeah, it's like this straight thing, and then it's got like a big. I don't want to use the word wiggle because it's more that it's like a big curve.
A big wave.
Yeah, it's a wave. Thank you. That's the one.
It's a giant wave.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm testing that at the minute, which is exciting.
How cool. That is... Yeah, no, I saw that on her account, and Georgie always looks impossibly cool in, like, every photo.
She does.
And I was like, I love that skirt. I don't think I'd ever be able to style it, but she just looks so cool. I was like, I've got to give it a go when it comes out. But that is so epic. Oh, my God. What about you, Sam?
I have moved on from trouser pursuits, as we know. I've gone deep into blouses. On the 28th of March, when I was planning my So April blouse episode for YouTube, my brain decided, no, I'll do an entire series, which is 7 episodes long. It's just like,
Sam.
why? What happened to my brain? But the thing is, once I started, the amount of requests, the amount of conversations people have had with me, because of course I was doing a bit of sleeve hacking anyway, because I bought that book Mad About Sleeves. And so I've actually had people sending me pictures of sleeves that they want to try and recreate. I've had people going, help me with small shoulders, with lifting the V. And so I've been sewing all kinds of different like blouse patterns, and then learning things like how to create a drop shoulder from a set-in sleeve, and just it's just gone crazy. I spent all of last Sunday filming overhead shots of all these different instructions. I was just like, I'm not sure what I've done, but it's become its own thing. It's taken on a life of
by the
its
way,
own.
Sam, quickly before we
before
we continue, there's quite a big delay and you've gone a bit Dalek-y. You might want to turn your camera off.
Let me disconnect now. Let me hotspot to my phone. Give me a second. I'll put my glass on, see what I'm doing.
Sam lives 20 minutes up the road from me, but the internet is significantly worse.
Mine's not good in an evening.
More rural. Well, when we moved here, we had only just fibre stopped 2 doors down from us when we first moved in.
Oh, we don't have fibre either.
Yeah, it's...
Well,
now
we've had
we do,
the chat.
but I live in like the...
We've had the chat. My other half didn't want to pay for it, and I've said, I'll have to... Well, we've got to. I can't take it any longer. Right, I will disappear for a second.
We're in town and ours is awful. We're in the city centre and it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
You're up north, aren't you? Whereabouts are you?
Lincoln.
Right, okay.
If you know where that is.
No, I do. I've got a lot of family. My dad's side, I've got a lot of family like around Yorkshire and Lancashire and sort of all around.
Yeah,
so I've driven through those bits and and it's very lovely. You've got a good cathedral, right?
They can't put fibre in because our wires are in the allotments and the allotments are too overgrown.
Oh my God!
What a problem to have.
That's so ridiculous.
I know. They've been out 7 times. It's fine.
Our Wi-Fi is great until it rains. I'm convinced someone's left something open somewhere because the last time we recorded it was chucking it down and Sam and my Wi-Fi both went. And we were both...
The second bit of strong wind as goes as well. Am I back now? Am I good?
Yeah.
You are much better now. You're still... your camera's not great, but your sound and there's no delay now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we've had the chat.
Nice. Okay.
We're gonna get the fibre. Right. Okay. So if I just finish up,
you've told him you're getting fibre.
I've said yes. So I've gone deep into blouses. That's all I can say, really. It's just become its own living entity now. So yeah.
I'm kind of obsessed though, because you actually inspired. I'm doing, or will have done by the time this episode came out, Sew April blouse. Normally, after Sew Yellow Ferrando, I go into a little cave and I basically don't sew for a few weeks because it's tiring. But at the Sew Yellow Ferrando party, Sam and I found the most incredible blouse fabric, and the only answer was to make exactly the blouse I was wearing at the time again in this new fabric. And it's nice because I'm not normally a blouse person, but I've put together a YouTube video of blouses for people who hate blouses, because if like me, well, there's a lot of blouses, and then actually the word blouse is pretty free, and we're going to get onto this more today, but I spent years being told blouses weren't flattering for me, and blouses in in shops.
What a one-show segue you created there into telling our listeners what today's episode is about. So I'll hand that mantle to you, Jess, with your amazing segue there.
I was quite proud of that, because it's also true. You can watch the video at length to hear me talk about this. But today we are talking all about... There isn't a question or a dilemma prompting us today. Really, it's sparked from conversations we've all been having. And we thought Vicki was a great person to talk to about this, because you did so much for bodily representation when you were on Sewing Bee. And we wanted to talk a little bit about flattering and about seeing your body your own way, and not necessarily dressing according to what other people tell you is good for you or bad for you. And I think all of us have definitely had experiences of people saying you can't wear that, or you shouldn't wear that,
definitely.
Or dear God, why are you wearing that? So that's kind of where we wanted to start today. So we'd love it, Vicki, if you wouldn't mind. I realise we haven't really done this. If you could introduce yourself a little bit, and also talk a little bit about when you were on Sewing Bee, what prompted you to sort of use that platform the way you did?
Yeah, I'm going to have to think now quickly how to introduce myself. Well, obviously, my name's Vicki, which is a great starting point. So I've been sewing way longer than I actually realised. I think I started sewing properly in 2014, somewhere around there, somewhere in that time frame. So I've been sewing a long time, love sewing, obviously, and I went on the Sewing Bee in 2023.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm hesitant on this is because we filmed the previous year, so it makes it quite. It's like one long year. It's very unusual. It all blurs into one. But it aired in 2023 anyway, and I was really lucky. I got through to the semi-finals, which was amazing. I did not expect to be in so long. I really did not expect to be in so long. I laugh about that quite a lot. So I thought this was common knowledge, but maybe it's not always common knowledge, if you've watched it. But I chose to have a plus size model on the show, which I think there's some miscommunication in interpretation of that. There seems to be across social media.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to read stuff about the show, if I'm honest, because it's just better not to. Really. But anyway, I had a plus size model on the show, which was great. I felt really passionate about it. It was the one thing that I really wanted to do if I managed to get on. Essentially just because I think there's a real lack of representation of different bodies. There's a massive lack of representation.
Definitely.
I thought that if I got on, then that was something that I felt strongly about doing if I had the option. And I did have the option, which was amazing. And yeah. I can't remember what else I was going to say.
No, but I think that's so cool, though, because you're right. The thing is, I know Sew Over 50 talk about this a lot as well. The vast majority of sewing marketing, of sewing imagery is white, straight-sized women in their 30s, 20s, sat at a nice little sewing machine, and it's very, homogenized, and that's not who sews. It's not just who sews.
Yeah.
Everyone is allowed to sew, and also clothes are for everyone. You can't just walk around naked because there aren't clothes in your size. That's not a thing. But we're not allowed to see it. So I thought it was so powerful when you were on Sewing Bee to see it, but also not to make a huge thing about it. It was just we should be seeing it. And I hope that's something they continue as standard into future seasons as well.
Yeah, so you do get the option. It was an option, which I then chose. Yeah, it wasn't a standard thing. It was so we have these standard size models, and you can have a plus size model if you want, or a model with a limb difference. That was the choices. And I think it was a new thing for our series.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be people's choice if they wanted to have one. But I basically thought I'd rather do one episode and have a curvy model than do, like, you know, be in it longer and have a standard model, because that was just what I cared about, basically. And I was very determined, and I'm glad I got to do it. I mean, because, I don't know, there's a huge lack of representation in fashion, isn't there?
Mm.
And I want sewing to separate itself from fashion, because part of sewing is creating something for yourself. So we should be able to create a representation for ourselves as well. But as Jess said, so many, not all, because some of the independent pattern companies are doing a lot better. Yeah. But there still is that very uniform fashion style look to the fronts of many patterns, and I wince every time I see the description that includes the word flattering in there. This dress will flatter you, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for in a sewing pattern. You know.
Well, whenever I read that, I'm like, this dress will hide your body appropriately, and I'm like, oh, good, lovely,
will make
great.
you appear smaller, will make you fit into societally acceptable, you know, whatever. And it's like, no, I want to know, will this dress be comfortable? Will I be able to be myself? How does it meant to fit?
Will I be able to move my arms in it?
Yes. How did the person imagine it fitted? Did they think it was going to be loose on my arms, loose or fitted on my waist? That's what I want to know, is how they thought it would fit, not how I should fit to what society wants. So yes,
I think people really see it. People really see it as a compliment, don't they? Which I really get. I get why that's someone's perception of the word. I understand why it's the perception, but really it's just a huge restriction, isn't it? That, it's okay for you to wear that because we say your body's okay in that. But actually, like, there's just so many better ways of complimenting someone, isn't there?
Also, the word gets conflated with flattering, as in it hides your bad points. Some people use it to mean it highlights your best points. And it's not actually the same thing, but the two do get conflated as, well, that really flatters you. Some people use that to say, it brings out your best features. But there is a sort of weird implicit bias. You can also just tell someone they look great in something. Way less loaded.
Why not just say, I like your dress?
Yeah, I like your dress.
Or, you look
I love
fantastic.
your sewing technique. I love your fabric choice. That's a really interesting pattern. All of those sorts of things. And I think, unfortunately, because it's been part of our language for so long, I think most people, and even pattern companies to an extent who are using it, are not realising what's behind it. And so they would probably be shocked, say, that's not my intention, that's not what I thought. But I think it's a bit like everything, unless we start thinking about how we project and choose things, we can't make a difference. And I think, I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast, and just stop me if I have, but my example is my boss, when I was in a training course with her the other month, and partway through she started wiggling about and couldn't concentrate. And when we got outside, she turned to me and she said, I should never have put these jeans on this morning. I knew they were too small, but I really thought I ought to wear them. And I looked at her and I said, will you please take them to the charity shop, because you couldn't concentrate for half of the training because of how your jeans made you feel. Well, now, I luckily have a relationship with her that I can say that.
Yeah. I remember you talk about that in the trouser episode when we talk about how your trousers should fit, because that's another one. We don't know how our clothes should fit. So this is going to sound really silly. Flattering doesn't always mean, or sort of that sort of thing. It can, sometimes it's about weight, or it's about dimension. Sometimes it's also about height, or about just literally other bits of your body that are unrelated. I've spent the last, how old am I? Nearly 30. I've spent the last 20 years being told you can't wear straight leg jeans because you'll look tiny. Now, that is true with literally years.
I have
years
so
and
many
years
examples.
and years. And I started wearing straight leg jeans and I was like, I can feel my calves at the end of the day. This is so nice. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love a skinny jean as an aesthetic, but straight leg jeans are much more practical and you can get stuff in the pockets, which is brilliant. And I've started exploring more, but it was from years of hearing those voices in my head
It's
going, those aren't
ironic
for
as well,
you.
though, because it changes with the fashion anyway. So the irony.
It's
But
like,
I'm
yeah.
the same. I feel like sometimes I have to rebel against these things. Like, I didn't like pink. Like, I was really anti-pink. I wouldn't touch the colour. I would wear coral because to me that's orange, not pink. And I don't think I realised why, only until a few years ago. And I think it's literally because I was told that I should wear pink because I'm a girl.
That's really
Like, I
interesting.
think that's
so you're
what it
just
was.
rebelling against.
I think I just rebelled. But it's the same, isn't it? Like, you shouldn't wear stripes if you're fat. Why?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Or
You should wear black, it's slimming.
Yeah. Or you shouldn't wear stripes because they'll make you look fat, even if... and you're like, I hate to break it to you, but my body's going to look the way it does.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put
body
clothes
is
on.
my
and
body.
that's-
Yeah.
But it's also all those things about having to have incredibly figure-hugging clothing, and it does go in and out of fashion. Okay, I was walking through town. It is half term at the moment. I was in town on Friday because I was at an appointment and then I had to go and get a couple of things. And all of the teenagers were out of the colleges and they were wandering around town. They'd had some kind of a half day. And I saw the most 90s and 2000s fashion that I've seen.
It's back. It is back.
Proper. I was walking around and I was like, oh, your jeans are so low that you're actually having to hold them to keep them up. Like, this girl, bless her, and her friends are all walking along, they're all wearing these clothes, and I was like, oh, darling, like, in a few years, you're going to realise that you're allowed jeans that cover as much as your body that you like, and that you can sit down in. And I felt so sad, but also it was quite funny, because that fashion is hilarious when you're not in that time.
It is fully back, like the silk slips with the t-shirts underneath, all of it. It's all back.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot. I think though the fit of stuff is funny though, isn't it? Because I used to get told you shouldn't wear baggy stuff because that'll make you look fatter, but also don't wear anything that's fitted because then that'll show off your body and that you're fat. What the fuck do you... I mean, what do you want me to wear?
Well, the message there is, can you just not be fat? Thank you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can you just be invisible, because then we don't have to... Yeah.
But it is wild what we get told, or like what you sometimes inherit, or sometimes it's someone has said it once to you when you're younger and feeling a bit more vulnerable and you never question it. And then as you get older, you go, sorry, what? No.
Well, I genuinely thought for a really, really long time that if I just lost enough weight, then I would just fit in like a size 10 and that would be that. But I mean, that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? Because everyone's body shape's so different. And you know, when it's actually a real, like, I actually was like, oh my gosh, like, what? This doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Like, I've lost the weight and I'm in my BMI range. And obviously now I recognise that that's all unhealthy thought processes and I've worked through it. But for a really, really long time, I genuinely thought if I got within my BMI, then I'd just walk into any shop and I'd just get the size 10 off the rack and I'd just wear it. And then I couldn't understand why those things wouldn't fit me. But it's because I don't think people realise it doesn't matter what weight you are or what size you are or what height or, you know, your body's just, everyone's body's just different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
As we heard in the episode with Sarah, when she talked, because Sarah was a commercial pattern grader and a commercial pattern cutter as well, they're not designed for everyone's bodies.
No.
They're designed for a very specific block. I mean,
and I think...
I still remember.
I was just saying, and I think that if you've only ever bought like shop clothes and you constantly think, but I don't fit, and then you think it's something wrong with you, and it's, I think for a lot of people it's quite freeing when you start to sew and go, hang on a minute, I can make this fit me. I've got I made one of the blouses I've been making it's a V front with like a coloured block piece underneath, made to the correct sizing. You can see my bra, because this my area on my chest here is very short, so I have had to bring the whole thing up over an inch to make it even decent. And I said, when I used to buy shopbought clothes, all of the V dresses, everything were always too low.
Yeah.
And no one, I didn't know at the time, that's because my body just was, the proportions were different to the classic block. Now I can fix it, but at the time I just, you know, you just keep thinking you're constantly in that cycle of, but my body can't be right, rather than I can make the adjustments so that this
the clothes are wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The clothes
But
are on,
it's
not my
hard
body,
though
yeah.
when you don't understand
It's
how
really
clothes
hard.
are constructed as well. I don't know if you guys do this. So I still occasionally shop. I'll still, particularly if either I really don't know if something's going to suit me, so I'll go and try on loads before I spend money and time on making it, because it's not fun if you make something and it looks terrible or you just hate it. So I still go and shop, but my rule is when I look at something I go, could I make it? Do I want to make it? Is it well made? And there's so much stuff I look at and I'm just like, who has this been drafted for? Like, what alien person has like 9-foot long arms and a 3-inch torso? What is this? And I still remember in like, I think it was 2016, I remember, for anyone who's never met me and Sam in person as well, we're both 5'2" and we're both quite curvy. I think that's fair to say in slightly different ways, but like, I have a very small back and larger boobs. And the reason I bring that up is I remember seeing an article in Vogue in 2016 that was like, boobs are out. And I was like, oh, great.
Just trade them in then.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. What do I do with this information? But it was literally this article saying, yeah, no one wants to have boobs anymore. And all fashion is following that. I was like, oh, that's going to be such a problem in like 2 years and it filters down.
I feel like when you're in a good place, you can really laugh about the stuff, but it's so upsetting. So upsetting. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, and even when I started sewing, like, and I feel kind of sad that I even did this now. So when I first started sewing, I was like, oh, I'm going to pick the size that I want to be, and that's what I'll make. And then one day I'll wear it. So like the first 4 things I made, I never wore. Like, they never fit me.
Sad.
I know, it's so sad, isn't it? And obviously now it's absolutely fine and I just make the stuff that I want to make and it's not a problem. But even with sewing, it took me ages to realise that you can't just fit in a pattern block. Such a long time to realise. Like, I genuinely just thought you would. And then I'd either think, oh, I've made it badly, or I need to change something about me to make it work. Which is... And a lot of people still feel that way, don't they? It's a hard thing to
when
learn
you're learning
about.
It's quite confronting as well, you know, when you first have to measure yourself and just
It's horrible.
go, that's my measurements. But once you realise that actually those measurements then help you create something that fits you, you can move past it being numbers and actually sort of helping you. But it takes a journey to get there, I think.
Well, we also tie
Definitely.
so much emotion to clothing sizes. So one thing I found fascinating when I first... So I've been sewing for 10 years now, I think, officially. And I remember when I first started sewing being so, like... I'll say confronted, because I don't care now, but at the time I was like, why is it saying I'm a size 14? I've been a size 6 to 8 my whole life.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
And it's really because, A, if you're using big 4 patterns... They use a commercial block, which is
crazy.
bigger. They're slightly... I have other problems with big 4 drafting, but, you know,
And
mainly...
it's erratic, but anyway.
It's so
the
erratic.
size is erratic.
Actually, if anyone, on the off chance, if this bit gets put into a reel, or if anyone is listening, stop putting your finished garment measurements on the pattern piece. Please, for the love of God. It is so irritating.
Just one more piece of paper. That's all it needs. One more piece of paper in the packet. That's it.
If that, it's printing an extra line. Like, come on.
First learnt that, I was like, what? Why are they there? And someone was like, well, that's just where they all are. But why? Why? It's no use to me if it's inside the pattern.
Yeah.
No, it's just like...
It's insane. The instructions tell you 1 in 3 things you should do. Yeah.
Someone has told me there are a couple of the big 4, big 5 that are printed elsewhere now. I haven't yet come across one of those, but someone has told me.
No, because they're
sceptical.
They're probably printed somewhere else and slipped in another pattern.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
somewhere the little envelope bit that you've ripped off, you know.
It makes me so angry, though, especially because the sizing's erratic. And you know when companies split sizes, which I understand why they do that, However, if you're in the middle or across the middle of the two, like I usually am, it's very frustrating.
Well, I firmly believe there should be a minimum of a 4-size crossover.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
if I am drafting up for my bust, I could be 3 sizes up for the top.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like a 2 for my waist. I'll be, if we use US sizing, because I cut out something US earlier, I'll be a 2 for my waist. I'll be a size 6 to 8 for my top, and I'll be like a 4 for my hips. But for some patterns,
I can stand 4 sizes quite easily.
So why do we say we're going to
easily.
cut this to a 14 and then a 14 up to a 28 or whatever? And you're like, it's putting
I'll
a
be
weird
honest,
tax
I won't
on
buy
middle
them
people.
now. Yeah,
No,
Really?
I don't buy them. I refuse. I've bought one pattern in that big 4 range, and it was only because I really, really, really wanted the pattern. But otherwise, I just don't touch them because I hate to moan about stuff. But I tend to think
it's a safe space.
so because I want to celebrate my body and not punish it.
Yeah.
And if I can't buy a pattern that's going to fit me, like, I'm happy to grade between sizes and do adjustments and all of that stuff, absolutely fine. But I'm not happy to buy a pattern in 2 size ranges. Like, no.
And I think that's totally fair, because that's literally putting a tax on you for being a middle size. Like, that's insane. But I totally agree. I mean, there are certain pattern brands, I love them, but I won't buy from them anymore because I'll do a full bust adjustment on a well-drafted bust.
Yeah.
But I'm not redrafting your bust for you and then doing it. Like, you should be paying me at this point. Why am I paying 20 quid for a pattern to redraft the bust?
Yeah.
Because again, I will pay for a pattern if they've got like a B cup and a D cup. But my biggest, it makes me so angry, is when they only do the D cup for the 14 to 28.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And you're like,
I really
doing
don't
it
get
anyway.
that. I don't
give us
get it
both.
because that's like saying if you're in a small size, you can't have a big bust.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
What?
I can definitely
I
prove
don't
that
get it.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be a
But it's so strange.
K, so yeah.
Bloody
Just
hell.
like,
Sometimes there's this random, like, I feel like sometimes, though, there's this random, like, oh, we'll be accommodating. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, well, we'll be accommodating, but only if this set of... And I don't know, I kind of would have more respect if you just didn't accommodate.
Yeah. Or it's...
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. But sometimes I just think, if you were just honest and said, I only want a draft for this cup size, fine. You do you.
Well,
And
at
there
least
was
you're not messing us about.
Yeah, and there was an independent pattern designer recently, and she did say, I genuinely can't remember who it is, but someone did say,
fine.
Why don't you do for bigger size? And she said, I don't know how, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And when I learn how,
Exactly.
then I will. And that's a really genuine answer to it's not that I don't want to, I've got to learn.
Yeah.
You know? And
Which is
to be
absolutely
honest like that.
understandable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a
You have
pattern
more respect
designer...
for that, don't you?
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, there was a pattern designer a couple of years ago, and I can't remember who this was. So it's not even like I can name names, because I won't, but I also literally can't. I don't remember. I just remember the post that was shared where they said, we were going to do bigger sizes, but it's costing us too much, and we don't really have any plus-size customers, so we're not going to.
Yeah.
And you're like, the reason you don't have any plus-size customers is because you don't
haven't
have
got
any
any
plus-size
sizes
patterns.
to buy.
And yeah, this is also... If you're investing in your customer base, you have to invest in your customer. Like, I don't know, I feel like to me just being like, well, none of you buy it. It's like, well, of course, I'm not going to buy something that doesn't fit me.
No.
So
No, and I would
An
advise
aspirational
people...
size.
I advise people not to buy from a company if it doesn't come in their size.
yeah, quite right.
Don't
I
bother.
agree.
Don't bother.
Right.
Don't bother.
So-
I won't bother. Don't give them money.
Plenty of choice out there, isn't there?
Well,
There's plenty of choice.
one
Don't
thing
buy,
I love-
you know.
So do it Emma. She does a thing sometimes on her stories. I adore Emma. And she does a brilliant thing where someone goes, find me a plus-size version of this pattern or this garment. And she opens it up and everyone suggests stuff, because her whole thing as well is she won't buy from a pattern that doesn't have the like actual size range for everybody. And I think it's great that she does that, because also every time I see all these fantastic patterns that I never would have known about otherwise that go from like 0 to 30, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll support them. Like Ali Olsen, the Highland wrap dress, I think goes from a 0 to a 32, I think. And I made that in a collab. So I made my bridesmaids dresses in that. It's a gorgeous pattern. I love it. But Emma and I did a collab with it, and she said, can we use this because it's got a really good size range? I'd never heard of them before. And now I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm learning so many more designers.
And there's quite a few even new pattern companies that have started out with a good size range, which I think's great and really refreshing to see. I've actually, since doing the show, the Bee, I've had a few people message me. I'm not going to name names, but it makes me chuckle in a way, because they'll be like, oh, I really love that you're all, promoting of size inclusivity, and I'd love to send you a pattern if you have a look at my website, blah, blah, blah. And I go on, and the first thing I do is look at the measurements chart, obviously. And there's been 2 that I've had to message and say, yeah, you're not in my size range.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Oh, that's painful. God, that's so cringe. That's so bad.
It's so bad, isn't it? I mean, I don't expect people to know stuff about me at all. Like, I really don't. But if you're going to go to the efforts of messaging me based on this, at least have a look at my profile, which says my measurements in it. Like, if you'd looked at my profile, my measurements are just there, right at the top.
Yeah. Well, it also feels very lip servicey. It's sort of like, the so nice thing you do, whatever.
Yeah,
could you do this for us? Thank you.
Yes, so much so.
It's just wild.
Dear.
But I think it is interesting though, because we do get caught in these sort of paroxysms of guilt about ourselves because we're learning a new skill, so you do think you're wrong first.
Yeah.
And it's a real learning curve to go from that to go, actually, I think if anyone's listening, by the way, and this sounds familiar and you're going, oh, I'm making everything wrong, nothing fits me, please make sure you've tried a range of pattern brands.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that was a big moment for me when I tried, I can't remember what the pattern was now. There was a different pattern I tried, and it had a B, a C and a D cup. It must have been a chalk and notch one, because they do really nice cup drafting. And I went, oh, I can move my arms. This is what it should feel. Oh, this is fine. And then from then it gave me much more confidence to adjust other stuff, because I knew something fit.
It can feel very daunting though, can't it?
Yeah.
Because I really try and share toiling processes and fit adjustments and stuff like that. Like, I try my hardest to, if I'm ever doing it, make sure I share it. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I'll be whittering on for what feels like a lifetime. And I think, gosh, everyone's just going to switch off because this is just me talking. I'm going to move this bus start now, and I'm going to move it like this. And now I'm going to try it again in a different position, and again, and again, and again.
Yeah.
But I do always get lovely messages, about fit adjustments. Like, I really enjoy sharing about fit, because the messages I get are so lovely from, people that are like, oh, it seems really daunting, and I never would have even thought to do this adjustment and things like that. And I do think everyone's in the same boat with fit, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all got to do...
Everyone's got to do something if they're being honest, or, if they can be bothered. I'm not saying everyone should do fit adjustments. It depends what you want to make.
Yeah.
And how much you care.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's some stuff where I go, do you know what? Can't be bothered, really. I can't be asked. I'm not doing it. And then there's sometimes where it's like, I need to do this so that it closes. So, that's, I have in my head, I have essential adjustments, which is I have to do this or I can't wear it outside.
Yeah.
And then I have that if you could be bothered, you do a sloping shoulder adjustment. Or if you could be really, really bothered, you nip the back in or whatever it is. But I definitely found it much more illuminating. Yeah.
It's so freeing when actually I can wear a pair of trousers that don't keep pulling down at the back or trying to cut me in half at the back, which again... when I used to only buy ready-to-wear clothes, I thought it was something wrong with me. Why don't they fit?
I didn't wear trousers.
Yeah. Well, I
didn't wear trousers.
Well, I have to say. Yeah, I just moved the dresses into shirts. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's lovely. I love having lots of trousers now that I've made that fit round my bum, and I think the first time I said out loud on my YouTube channel, I've done a full seat adjustment, I did feel like, ooh, but actually now I say it loud and proud because they fit and I'm comfortable, and I think that's the thing is, we've got to, it's hard work, but shifting that self-judgment because we've had it like externally for so long. And I would love to think that it's better.
And you hear it everywhere.
Yeah. It's not better.
And I think
still,
sometimes we often forget the purpose of our clothes as well. Like, I remember once, so not so much now because I work from home, but I used to, when I went to work, I used to wear heels 90% of the time. That's how I was comfortable. It's what I liked. I'm not a huge flat shoe person, although I have to be at the moment. And I do remember someone going to me, those shoes aren't practical. And I remember turning around to them and going, well, they shelter my feet from the floor. So I don't know what your shoes do, but I think we're fine. I'm walking. I've done 17 hours so far in them. I think I'll be okay. But it just was that moment where I was like, what do you mean practical?
Yeah.
And we do the same with trousers and everything else.
I had a massive disagreement with my kids' school recently. I'll make it brief. But and I also think there's disproportion between men and women.
Definitely.
I feel like no one comments on what my husband wears.
No, of course not.
People say to me, well, that's a bit loud. Is it? Is it or does it make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Have you not been wearing enough bright colours?
Yeah.
Are you uncomfortable? Is what... Maybe I should start saying that to people. Are you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I like that.
Did something happen with bright clothes in the past?
Yeah. Or what happened to you that made you not like bright colours? What happened?
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, I usually say, because my daughter will give me she's 7, and she'll give me her opinion on what I'm wearing. And I'm really trying to be neutral about this so that she doesn't have all the horrible opinions that I've tried really hard to work through. And she'll go to me, is that what you're wearing? I'll be like, yeah. She'll go, I don't really like it. And I go, well, that's okay. It's not your clothes. And off I strut.
Yep.
And she said,
so healthy.
And I'm just like, yeah, well, it's not your clothes, and you choose your clothes and I'll choose mine. And off I go. And it's so funny. And she'll say things like, and this is her observing and not knowing how to phrase it. She's only a baby, isn't she? But she'll say, I like it when you wear makeup. You look good. And I'll go, I look good all the time, but thank you.
Well done, yeah.
That's so good.
I mean, do I believe it? No, but I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, and we've got to keep telling ourselves. I'm still, it's an endless
I say,
work
I
in
look great
progress.
all the time.
Yeah. It's a constant work in progress, isn't it? I caught the back of myself in a video, and I was like,
it's
hard
hard
to have a word
sometimes.
with myself. Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
Right, so basically, Iris has some, I'd suppose they're like a little ankle boot. It's shoes, because this is what reminded me. So Iris has these shoes I buy kids Clark shoes for school. So she has these little black shoes. They come up to her ankle bone. They've got a zip on the side. Call them a high top shoe, a boot, whatever you want to call them. They're school shoes. And she can't wear the other ones because of the shape of her foot. Fine. Yeah. All of a sudden, the school announced that kids aren't allowed to wear boots at school. So I sent a picture of these shoes and I said, I just want to make sure she won't get into trouble when she turns up at school. And the teacher says, oh, well, I've looked online and they're classed as a boot. So I was like, right. Girls' shoes are not practical or comfortable.
No, they're not.
Or sensible. Boys' shoes are. So I got a whole category of photographs of these boys' shoes that are hit at the same point on the ankle bone as Iris's. And I sent them all to the head teacher and said, well, here's your options as a boy and here's your one option as a girl. So are you going to tell my son he can't wear his shoes because they hit at the ankle bone? Or are you going to say that everyone can wear these shoes? And she was like, I take your point, yeah. Okay.
That's not a victory.
Yes, I felt like I'd made a real win there.
Yeah,
but it's only a girl problem.
No, yeah.
Yep.
Not everything, but some
A lot
things.
of things.
Those
Oh,
ballet
they're
pumps are
awful.
ridiculous, aren't they?
They're
They
so
don't.
bad,
They don't
yeah.
stand up to anything. It's just
Her first suggestion was that I bought her 2 pairs of shoes, a practical pair for the playground and a school rules pair for the classroom. And I said, I'm not buying her 2 pairs of shoes. That's insane.
She's
Absolutely
wearing them
insane.
both at school.
speed
What?
children grow. It's ridiculous.
Is she going to go
I mean-
stand outside in her non-school shoes in her break?
It was very well written, but I did include, this is only a female problem, clearly.
Yeah.
At the end of my email.
Because school shoes for boys are shoes. They're
Yeah.
actual shoes, whereas girls
Yeah.
get cardboard with bows. And it's
I'm enjoying the
it's
fact they've got time to
ridiculous.
even worry about that, and that the teacher had time to even look up what they were called.
They have bigger problems. They definitely have bigger problems.
They need, as someone I used to know say, when things are difficult, divert to minutiae. Yes. Because it feels like you can control that.
Oh, that's painfully true, isn't it? Oh my goodness me. It is bizarre. I think it is really interesting though. I think actually if you take this into an adult context, ideas of uniforms for certain spaces. And it's really, really interesting. I had one job where, because I was a front of house role, I had to wear like black business smart. Other than that was prescribed, and it was, you have to wear this because it's like a reception type thing, and like you just have to. Other than that, every other job I've ever worked at, I've worn incredibly bright jumpers and mini skirts and jeans and whatever I like, really. I always look smart, but I vividly remember going into my first job and just going, I'm sat at a desk, or I'm running around running events. What? I'm not wearing like whatever this smart suit thing is, because that's not practical. But in your head you go, this feels a bit transgressive. Like, oh, I'm just wearing the clothes I want to wear. Now, like nearly 10 years on, I'm like, these are the clothes I have, deal with it. Like, it's what I'm wearing. It doesn't affect my ability to do my job. But there are people who will get, I remember, oh God, it was a firm in the city, and this must have been
what with the having
pre-COVID.
to wear high heels?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you remember this
I
article in The
remember-
Guardian? They were like, women have to
You
wear
know, I
heels, and
remember.
it's in the dress
That would have
guidance.
wound me up something big time, to the fact that it's still in my memory.
Yeah, I remember reading this and going, excuse me? So it was just this business where they'd said, it was like a really famous big city firm in London.
I'm not
And
even surprised.
No,
No,
but
not
that's
I'm
even
the
not
thing.
surprised, but it doesn't mean I'm okay about it. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not surprised, but also it's the idea, same as like air stewardess, stewards, but
better
in this
now,
case,
isn't it?
stewardesses, you have to wear heels and a pencil skirt. Have you ever tried walking quickly in a pencil skirt? There
Also,
is
is
nothing
it just
like
is it just a rule for women?
Yeah.
Yes. Of course
Exactly.
it is.
Sorry, darling. I know you do your job well, but if you could also look conventionally pretty while you do it,
Yes,
that would
yes,
just really improve things for everyone
And
else.
restricted so that you're acceptable. Yes.
I'm
let's
not
keep
window
being
dressing.
acceptable. Yes. Yeah.
Do you know, a man at work once told me I held a door open for him because he was half an hour late. I know I've told this story before, and he told me I made a very glamorous doorstop.
Wow.
And I was like, I am overcome with how much I hate this man right now. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm literally your boss this evening. We're going to deal with this another time because you're like 20 minutes late. But I just remember standing there just going, excuse me?
Yeah.
The brass neck of it. But I do think as well, there is an assumption that we have to be constricted, conventionally pretty, wearing clothes that are too small for us, or that we should be aspiring to get into, and it stops us enjoying fashion. But
Yeah.
sewing,
And that takes up less space, and that we
we're
are,
not allowed to take up space.
Yeah. Yeah. So
We're
I
not allowed
think
to wear enormous dresses and hats and incredibly loud clothing, which frankly you can be as loud as you like.
it
Yeah,
might be a good
it's-
time actually to just like, if each of us
Yeah.
gave people some tips, because as we say, this is a work
Yes.
in progress, and we all
It
have
is.
to catch ourselves all of the time. And I think that's the thing, is that none of us, we might sit here being, frustrated, annoyed, calling it out, but actually we all have our moments where it catches us too. So maybe for our listeners, we could give some tips about how to work on breaking free from it, because it is a voice. I'm nearly 50 now, and it's been most of my life, it's been societally acceptable to critique women's bodies on TV and magazines. as individuals when you'd go to a relative's house and people would comment on your appearance. You know, it's only been in the last few years that people do that less. People still do it, but they do it less. So, I mean, I'll kick it off with, when I'm thinking about what I want to make, I'm thinking about how comfortable it feels as one of the top things that helps me choose what to make. Jess, Vicky, anyone want to go next?
I have a rule, and it's a rule I have developed over the year, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. I'm prepared this time. As soon as you said you were going to ask us this, I was like, I must make a note of this. Yeah, I have my rule, which is try it on, particularly if you think you're not going to suit it. So this is a sewing thing. If you're not sure, make a really cheap and dirty toile and just try it on. If you're in a shop and you see a garment and the first thought in your head is, that's not for me, that wouldn't suit me, try it on. And then if it really doesn't suit you and you hate it, have a giggle, because that's great fun. Just go, oh my god, lol, this does not work. But if it does, you might be really surprised, and a whole new vista of clothing will be open to you in styles. Like, one of the nice things, you don't have to buy it either. You can just try stuff on. That's allowed. But it's really valuable, to me anyway, to quieten that voice really instantly and just go, no, you're allowed to put that on. It can be for you if you want it to be for you. Even if you're not going to buy it, you get to reclaim that. And in the moment, you might go, oh, I actually look pretty good. And then you get to have that as a moment and go, that is for me. And yeah, if it's not for you, have a giggle, because not all clothes suit everyone. That's the thing. Your body is yours. Try to laugh at it. Don't get really depressed. And my other tip is, if you're in a changing room, remember, I don't know who designs the lighting for changing rooms, but they don't like women. So no. Remember that if you love how you look in a changing room, you're really going to love it in the rest of your life. But if you don't love it, it's probably the lighting. So, just have that in mind. That's my big area. What about you, Vicky?
So I'm thinking now. I've got caught up in thinking about what you two said. Anyway, so one of mine is that get used to seeing your body. This was a really big thing for me. So when I first started sewing, I would only ever take pictures of garments if they were on a hanger or the floor, because I did not like seeing my body in things, no matter how much I liked it. So I started taking lots and lots and lots of pictures of myself, which sounds odd, I suppose, but
no,
the reason I got into social media, I got into social media because I was like, right, I'm going to make myself accountable to looking at myself more, and I'm going to take photos and I'm going to put it on the internet, and then eventually I'll get over looking at myself, which I have done. Also mirrors. I have loads of mirrors in my house, and I didn't growing up. And yeah, I think just really looking at your body all the time, which is quite uncomfortable at times and not always enjoyable, but it just normalises what you look like, I think, for me, personally.
And I think I'd add on to that.
Big thing for me.
Yeah, I would add on to that it's okay to not love your body or all parts of your body. It's okay to be neutral about it. We can't always, we need to move away from dislike and hate, and it's okay if we can't get to love. We can just stick in that neutral place. I'm pretty neutral about my thighs. They get me where I want to go. They are what they are. I stuck a Lego tattoo on my thigh because it makes me smile, and it makes it a lot easier to look at my thighs. But, they are my body, and I've moved away from dislike to a place of neutrality. And, and also you will have days where actually you hear someone's voice, whoever that voice is, or just the voice, it says, oh, you shouldn't wear elastic waistband because that's the voice I have to fight against. But then I remind myself, actually, by wearing these trousers, I almost can't feel them on my body. And now I can be present because I'm not thinking about how the clothes feel on me. So that's the other thing I'd really say.
Hard.
Yeah.
It is really
but we all
hard.
have moments as well where you slip.
I don't like myself all the time.
No, and you can't, though. And I think it's unrealistic to think you can.
No, I irritate myself.
At the moment, I ran a very long way at the weekend. My legs are still really swollen. And today I sat down, and we've all done this, I sat down at a funny angle and I saw myself in an unexpected way, and I was like, dear. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you're 90% water and swelling while you heal. So you are it's not about size, but my skin looks weird. But it was such a weird moment, and I had to properly sit down and just go,
it's looking different or not how you expected.
Yeah, exactly. It's not necessarily that you're like, it's catching, as you say, catching yourself unawares. And I do think you're right about the mirrors thing, when we were growing up, we had really one mirror. It was in my parents' room. That mirror definitely was slightly distorted. I can now see that as an adult. It was like a slightly bowed somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was the mirror you stood in and went, oh God, I'm thighs and I'll do this. Whereas now, we have quite a few mirrors, and I just like, if I'm walking to the bathroom, I'm just like, oh, yep, there I am. Because otherwise you do end up micro focusing on every single bit of you.
When we stand still in a mirror or we look at a photo, that's our body in one position. And actually the rest of the world doesn't see us like that because we're in motion most of the time. So when we're studying or analysing
videos.
Me too, because I'm like, that's what I look like.
Yeah,
that one in the video.
Yep, definitely. But, it is okay to have an off day because this is a work in progress.
Exactly.
We're sat here being passionate about this and we're all still saying we're working on this.
I don't think I'll ever stop. Someone asked me I did a Ask Me Anything on my stories the other day for fun. And one of the questions really got me because the person put, do you feel as amazing as you look? And I was like, I don't think that was, maybe, I don't know if it was meant to be as deep a question as it was, but it most certainly was a deep question. Yeah, I did overthink responding to it for quite a lot. And I did respond to it in a summarised thing. But no, I don't feel how people probably think I look, is the truth, isn't it? Yes, sometimes I feel amazing. Sometimes I feel the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Well, but then that's kind of a thought I think we should probably draw to a close around, which is
complex, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it's also when we look at fashion, women are treated as coat hangers. In fashion, women are treated as a way of displaying clothes. And I'm telling you this as someone who loves sewing and loves creating clothes. You are so much more interesting and important and special than anything you will ever wear. And you have to remember that, because fashion will treat you like a way of displaying yourself. Oh yeah, but you just are though, because you're a complex human. You're interesting. You can make beautiful things. But the fashion industry does want you to display clothes and walk around and go, oh my God, where did you get that? Whereas
and I would say
consumerism as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Consumerism.
So the things that help you to shine and be you. And if you don't know who that is, because sometimes some people might be sat there thinking, but I don't know who that is. Keep playing, because there will come the day when you put something on and it feels you on the day. And I know Jess and I have spoken before about the fact that you don't have to have one style all of the time. You can have different styles and different versions of you for different moments as well. And, don't feel you're pursuing one capsule look, for goodness sake. It's not.
God, no.
It's not.
I am proudly not a capsule person, and you do not have to be either, no matter how many reels you see of people going, oh my God, here's my 4-piece capsule wardrobe. I see those people and I'm like, oh honey, I love you, but I will never be you. And that's got to be okay for now. That's got to be fine.
It's good to appreciate other people's styles as well, though. That's one thing I really loved about the Bee, was appreciating other people's styles. Was nice to see.
And one day, you might feel like some 80s diva, and another day just like comfy joggers, and another day whatever. You don't have to be the same. Yeah, me too.
I wear a lot of joggers
right now.
I've also got joggers on.
Yeah.
Shorts on, because I refuse to put trousers. I put leggings on to go to the shops last night, and I've never made a worse decision in my life. It was like wearing full compression tights, and my whole body was like, literally, we got 5 minutes to the shops, and my calves started seizing up, and I was like, this clearly trousers are the problem. So we've gone straight back to shorts and a massive hoodie. So, you're allowed. Also, if you're at home listening to this right now, we command you, and Sarah would do the same, if you stand up and your trousers are digging in, or you sit down and your trousers are digging in, or you can't lift your arms up, the clothes are the problem.
Yeah.
Okay?
There's one rule I always go by, and I say, if I wouldn't say it to someone I love, then I won't think it about myself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
and
a
the
really
perfect note, I think,
way.
to bring this episode to a close on.
Now, do we
Vicki, it has been a joy. Do you want to plug anything? I think as Sam and I are on exactly the same wavelength here. Is there anything you would like to tell our lovely audience about?
Yes, well, I'll awkwardly do it as you've brought it. Do you know, I'm not great at talking about myself.
Come on.
Which is ironic.
You do a lot of wonderful things. Big yourself up.
Thanks. Do you know, someone asked me if I was an extrovert after I did the sewing bee, and I was like, gosh, I couldn't be further from it. I'm glad that you got that perception of me, because I think that was the edit and not actually me.
Thank you. I was edited really well.
Yeah, I was edited to look super confident.
Yeah.
So I do my own fabrics now.
She does.
I do my own fabrics designs. Yeah, so that's what I'm into at the minute. Basically, because I think clothes should be a celebration of you, and I like lots of bright prints. So that's what I'm doing now. A very small selection of fabrics, which is on whatvickymade.com if you're interested.
And you can follow Vicki on Instagram at whatvickymade. You're on YouTube as well, aren't you?
I am a very vacant YouTuber, yes, but I am on there.
She is there, and when she is there, she's fantastic. You can buy some of her beautiful fabrics. I believe you also co-host sewing retreats, is that right?
I do, with Jill, who was on the Bee the year before me. She's very lovely, and it means I get to spend the weekend with her and lots of other lovely people and eat nice food.
Which sounds great. If you've enjoyed listening to Vicki today, then you can also join her on a sewing retreat and have a lovely time sewing and meet her, because she is brilliant. Thank you. We have enjoyed chatting to you. I'm speaking for both of us here, but I assume Sam agrees. We've had a lovely time.
Yep.
I feel thoroughly inspired. And as always, it's been an absolute joy. If you would like to hear more from Sam and me, if you are not fed up of our voices, you can go and listen to our back catalogue if this is your first episode with us. We also have a lovely membership platform called the Biscuit Tin that you can join us in, and you can get bonus episodes, a lovely, lovely newsletter, and an extra long episode each month of one of the main podcast episodes. So it might be this one, who knows? So you can join us over there.
Well, on that note, Jess, thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much, guys.